Do you want more? More time, more balance, more love, more sex, more money, more real, and less bullshit? This is the Women Wanting More podcast with Dr. Karen Osborne. Real life, real stories, plus real tips to get you more of what you want.
So, sister, let me share with you what happens when you get triggered. So what do I mean by triggered? Well, when you hear something that pisses you off, someone says something to you, you read about something that's happened to you, let's just kind of say from the outside, that's like really made you pissed or sad or, it's triggered you, right? It's emotionally charged you in some way. And so why does this happen? Well, let's first talk about what happens when you hear a new belief. See, we move through life with the lenses that we have over our eyes, right? A certain way that we actually see the world. What my coach would refer to is the worldview, right? This is the way that you see the world. And we're all going to maybe see a little bit differently. Some things we'll see similar, some we won't. But it's what we believe to be true. Whether or not it's true is irrelevant, actually true, but it's the way we see things, right? It's like, it might be you've got a certain belief set at how you think that marriage should be, or how that parenting should look, or how your kids should look, or how business should be, or how your health and your body should be. Like, there's a certain way that you see things. So, for example, when I was in practice, because I'm a still a chiropractor, but retired, we closed the doors of our chiropractic office. How many months ago was that? It was May of 2016, 8 months ago, seven months ago. And when a lot of people would come in for the first time, not everybody, but I'd say the majority of patients that we saw, when they came in as a new patient, they saw health with a certain set of eyes, right? With certain lenses. And the lens was the way that the majority of people see health, which is that health comes outside of us. So it comes from a pill, it comes from something we do from the outside in, it's from taking organs out of our body, it's something that we do from the outside in that somehow makes us, quote, healthy. And so as a chiropractor, and our belief system based in science, which is that, hey, healing comes from the inside out, right? That when we have a clear functioning nerve system, the system in our body that coordinates and regulates every single organ, cell, tissue, limb, everything, that when that communication system, that nerve system is clear, meaning there's no interference to how your brain communicates with your body through that clear nerve system, then our body is able to heal itself. Now, there could be other factors for sure, but that's how it's working. So we really teach people that, health is an inside-out job. Like, it comes from the inside. And so that, for many people, would blow their minds, even when they would experience it, right? Because their worldview said health comes from the outside. And that them even being able to have choices like, for example, getting checked in our office on a regular basis to get their nerve system cleared, the food they put in their body, how they move their body, their sleep, their thoughts, that all of that stuff, that stuff mattered, right? And more people just saying oh yeah, it's important to work out and eat good food or eat healthy. No, it's everything. Disease process is not a gene thing. It's not, in very, very rare cases, but it's not. Health comes from the inside. And so it would take a long time for a lot of people for that paradigm to shift, that way that they saw the world, their lenses on how they saw health and healing in their body. And for some patients, it never shifted. Because here's what that means. That means in order for you to adopt and accept a new paradigm, a new set of lenses, a new way you see the world, it means that you have to accept that the way you saw it before was not true. And that sucks for a lot of people. That's a very difficult, no pun intended, pill to swallow, right? It means that we have to take responsibility for the choices that got us there. And for some people, they go down the path of guilt and blame and shame and just saying that's what I knew to be true at the time with what I knew. Now I know different. I'm going to choose different, right? Or I'm going to be able to have that awareness of what this actually means. And not just doing it just because I think that's the way that things are supposed to be done. And so it would be really difficult for a lot of people. And it would take a long-ass period of time. And it was difficult, too, if they were around others that didn't have a similar way that they saw the world. They're constantly kind of being pulled out of that until they got really grounded, in which case it wouldn't matter how many people would tell them stuff about, oh my God, why are you seeing a chiropractor? I went once and then I'm fine again. They'd just be like, dude, I'm good. Like, I know where health comes from. I got it, right? They would be so grounded in it. So here's what happens when we hear a new belief system. And here's what would happen for some people in the office as well too. Is that when we first hear, and there's a great quote, I'm going to see if I can find it and put in the show notes for this episode, but it basically is like this. Let me paraphrase. So when we have a new belief system, it goes through 3 stages, okay? Number 1 is it gets laughed at. It's ridiculed. People go, oh, that's stupid, that's ridiculous, right? The next step is people vehemently oppose it. I remember that part of the quote for sure. Vehemently oppose. That means they strongly, like, no fucking way is that true, right? They vehemently oppose it. And the third part of that is that they accept it to be true. They accept that that's a belief system. Every single time that you go through a paradigm shift, with the lenses that you see, the eyes that you have that see the world a certain way, you will go through those stages. It can be slow or fast. And you might stay stuck in the second one and never want to see a new way of seeing the world. And that's fine. That's your choice, right? But let me give you an example in my life where this was true, and this will make quite a bit of sense. So I was probably about 27. We were getting ready to drive down to San Jose, California. I had about 6 months of taking prereq courses and had a conditional application to get into Palm West Chiropractic College in January of 98. And so when we went down, we had very little cash. Like, this is not a story. I kid you not. We had about $1,500. We had credit cards open, and we had maybe the combination of cards was like $15,000, maybe. It wasn't a lot of money. We I had a loan, a Canada student loan, which was like peanuts. And the dollar at the time, which actually it's funny because it is again now, the dollar, Canadian dollar, was about 70 cents in the US dollar, right? And obviously we were in California, San Jose, so our dollar was only worth 70 cents of what the US dollar was. So I had to pay 30% more, in other words, to kind of have that same dollar be the same as US dollar. And so as we're preparing to go down, like, it was really just like, I mean, somewhat winging it. My why was so strong. I knew that we would find a way, and we did. We found many ways to make it work, and it's crazy. I could write a book on all the things that happened and we created and we produced in our life to actually pull it off, because there's no logical way it should have made sense that we actually had money to, number 1, live in California, Bay Area, one of the most expensive places to live in the world, and number 2, to continue to have money flowing into our life, to create, to work, to find, that actually pulled us all the way through school. Crazy. But leading up to that, I was seeing a psychologist at the time. We were living in Toronto. I was working through some stuff, a lot of anger I had about my dad. And I remember the psychologist saying to me as we got close, just saying like, well, like, what are you doing for money? And I was so triggered by that. Now, at the time, I was like, yeah, we'll make it happen. But, there was certainly a piece of me that said, like, holy fuck, what are we doing? How are we going to pull this off? But I was like, nope, we'll make it happen. Like, I was such an eternal optimist at that point in my life. And so when she said that to me, it instantly triggered me. I was like, I don't remember the whole conversation, how it went down. I can kind of remember what the room looked like, and I can remember the feeling of being really mad. Because I literally told her to fuck off and like, we'll find a way to make it work. But she kind of kept going. I was like, well, how are you going to do that? And so, she was opening up to my worldview, which my worldview was saying, I will find a way to make it work. Her worldview was very pragmatic and said, wait a second, like, where are you getting the cash to do all this stuff? You guys are moving and like, you got, tuition and, the loan money I got annually from the Canadian government paid for like a quarter of my tuition each year. So tuition at the time, I think was like about $4,000 US, and I was getting about $6,000 Canadian total. So I paid for like 3 months to 12 months of my school. Like, ridiculous, right? Not books and not rent and food and everything else. And so she really challenged that, and it triggered me. So here's the vehemently oppose. You suck, fuck you. I stormed out of her office and I never went back again. I don't think I've ever done something like I just blew up on her. Because she was imposing her view of seeing the world, which was, oh my God, how are you going to make this work? Okay, so I was now, for me, I was not having it. Now, what's interesting in this situation is I proved her wrong, fucking found a way to make it work. Fuck you, psychologist from Toronto. However, this is what happened is she was showing me this worldview, which I was like, I'm not having it. Because if I believe that to be true, then I'm screwed, right? And there can be times when maybe someone else will show you a way of how they see the world. And it just doesn't fit with you, right? But here's what happens. Sometimes when I podcast certain things and I talk about them, I post about them on Facebook, I shoot a video, I create something on a webinar, people get triggered. And it's not with my intention of I'm just like going, can't wait to stir the pot with this one. Like, I certainly speak my mind. I know this is a result of it for some people. But here's the cool thing. There is gifts in these for you if you're willing to open your eyes to see. See, it's normal to oppose a worldview that says, hey, if I believe that to be true, that means that how I now know the world to be, how I know, let's say, marriage to be, or parenting, or my health in my body, or money, that means I have to say that view how I see it is wrong, and this is now the right one. And that's hard. That takes huge fucking balls to do that. Most will not. So when you are triggered, I'm going to suggest to you that the majority of these times, there's a new worldview that you're being introduced to that you are vehemently opposing. And you might continue to go through the process and be open and actually go, wow, maybe this is a better way for me. Maybe this is a new truth. This is the truer way for me to really understand something about marriage, parenting, my health, money, or my life, if you're open to really seeing that, sister. So here's your more tip for today. Where are you vehemently opposing? Where are you triggered? Where are you getting pissed right now about stuff and just feel stuck? Just feel like you're just going around in a circle, going around in a circle, going around in a circle. And here's the second. So where is, identify where that is in your life. And number 2 is be open to the possibility that maybe what you know to be true is not so true. Maybe there's another possibility that could completely transform your life if you only open up your eyes to see the possibility. That you take out the lenses that you currently see the world with, sister, and you try on something new. Right? That's how we grow and learn, by the way. I was explaining to my son, Tyson, we're walking home, and there's a dad playing catch with his daughter, and I said, Tyson, he's like, oh, I'd let you do baseball. And I go, buddy, mommy can teach you baseball. I can teach you how to throw, how to hit, how to catch the ball. Like, I can do that well. And he's like, well, what if I already know? And I said, well, buddy, here's the thing. If you want to learn something new, if you think you already know it, you won't learn anything. And so I gave the analogy of Lego. He loves his Lego. Remember, you had the big Legos and the small ones, and then you had to follow kits, and now you can just build stuff on your own. There's a progression, and if you close it off and say, I already know the way things are, then that's your choice. But just know that expansion does not happen under that. Growth does not happen. Moving towards what you want within your life, if it's not what you have now, will not happen if you choose to see your life with the exact same lens. Right? What's that definition of insanity? Doing something over and over again and expecting a different result. In order for you to see something new, you have to be willing to seeing the world, seeing a situation, seeing a possibility in a different way with a different set of eyes, with those new lenses, sister. So here's what I want you to do next. I want you to be open to the possibility of hopping on the Women Wanting More newsletter. This is really a way for us to stay connected on a daily basis. You're going to get all the episodes, all the upcoming information about One Day Women Wanting More event that I'm going to be doing, celebrating when we hit 1 million downloads in May of this year of 2017. And only those on the list are going to get the first dibs on seats. There'll be an early bird and a pre-sale stuff and then a regular. There'll be 30 tickets. It'll be very, very small event for this, sister. And it's only open to the sisterhood first before I release to the public. You're also going to get first dibs on my book that's coming out soon, all the Women Wanting More webinars. So what I want you to do is head over to drkarenosborne.com just drkarenosborne.com, and you will see a pop-up. You can enter in your name and email for that, and make sure to hop on the newsletter, and I will connect with you immediately to get you set up in Women Wanting More sisterhood and tribe. So I will talk to you in the next episode, sister. A life of more is just one step away from me doing the fucking work every single day. I love and appreciate you.
To get the show notes of each Women Wanting More episode, including the How to Get More tip, subscribe to the newsletter at drkarenosborne.com/newsletter.